Hello and welcome. Okay, so today we're going to be having a wee look at the Squier debut Stratocaster, Amazon only, £129, or maybe you're seeing it for £109 right now, sometimes they're on discount, and the Squier Sonic series Stratocaster. You can see these are quite similar, and this is about £149, comes both in HSS and SSS variants. This is the HSS, £149, so like £20 between it. What one do you go for? Let's have a wee look. So we're going to have a look at the differences. There's more than you think, and similarities, there's probably more than you think. And we can also have a look at what other alternatives there are in this price range. Right, let's look at the specs. Okay, so let's start with the similarities, or the sames. Anyway, they're both made in China. They both have 40mm thick bodies, which is a little bit thinner than your standard Fender, which is usually 45, so that should mean they're a bit thinner and lighter, so that's a bit of a bonus. These two particular ones are both black, but they're a little bit different. We'll get to that later in the differences. The necks are also almost identical. They're both 25.5" scale, which is full scale, 9.5" radius, maple necks with 21 narrow tall frets, satin urethane finish on the back of the neck, which is nice and comfy.
Silky and smooth.
And they both have 42mm plastic nuts. The tuners, string trees, strap buttons, jack sockets, and 6-screw bridge trem systems with block saddles are also the same. The pickups, I think, are the same. I mean, they sound pretty much the same to me, and they're not that great. You could do better even at this price these days. But anywho, moving on, the middle pickup on both is RWRP, reverse wound, reverse polarity, so that means that you're going to get your hum cancelling on positions 2 and 4. And with the HSS Sonic series, you'll of course get your hum cancelling also in position 1, because it's a humbucker. Remember, you can also get the Squier Sonic series in SSS configuration too. They also both have the second tone control wired to the bridge pickup only, and the first tone control is the neck and middle, which is pretty great. I like that that's kind of the norm these days for Strats at pretty much any price. Love it. Right, now let's get into the differences. Now, there's more than I first realised, but do they even matter? They're quite small, or are they? Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, starting at the headstock on the Squier Sonic, you can see that the Squier logo is like black bold, whereas on the debut, hopefully you can see that the logo is like an outline, a bit like a tattoo that you need to go back and get filled in. I don't have any tattoos, but I suppose you could fix this if you wanted to. I actually kind of like the outline look on the debut, might even prefer it. So for two guitars that seem like they're pretty similar, we're still on the headstock and we've got another difference. So as you can see here, the truss rod cover on the Squier has like the little plastic collar type thing, and the debut has nothing. It's just bare, naked wood. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I think the neck profiles on these are exactly the same. I'll check it with a feeler gauge and I'll put it on the screen now. There you go. Hopefully that's at the 1st fret and the 12th. Right, moving on. They both feel pretty much the same to me, and I've really been enjoying the narrow tall frets on both these guitars. On a few guitars recently actually. So yeah, all good. Now, the necks are maple, but when it comes to the fretboards, the Squier Debut only has the option of laurel fretboards, whereas the Squier Sonic, you have the option of laurel or maple, depending on which colour you go for. So, if you want to see the other colours of the Sonic series and fretboard options, check on the internet, if it's still there. Is the internet still going? Let me know in the comments. Personally, I always prefer the smoother feel under the fingertips of maple, and kind of like the look of it too. While we're on the neck, we've got another difference. On the back, the Squier Sonic has the skunk stripe. I'm not sure what this one's made out of. It'll be some kind of wood, maybe laurel or something. Anyway, this is basically just down to the construction of how they get the truss rod in. So this is the way they've done it with this guitar. And when we come to the Debut, you'll notice there is no skunk stripe on the back. So what they've done with this one is they put the truss rod in before they put the fretboard on. So it's just a construction thing. Does it matter? That's the thing. Let us know in the comments. I prefer the skunk stripe. Don't know why. Hey, if you're getting any value from this video so far, please do consider hitting the like button. Apparently that helps the channel, it's free, helps the video get shared or something like that. Or how about you do the old subscribe? Give that a go. You might like it. You could do a free trial or something. Right, back to it. Right, getting to the bodies now, and this is the main sort of headline difference when you're looking at the specs between these two, and maybe the more appealing factor of the Debut series, other than the price when it's on sale, is the matte finish instead of the glossy finish. Look, you can see the light reflecting off of the body on this glossy Sonic, but the Debut has the matte finish. Now for me, I do like the matte finish. I think it's kind of cool and a bit trendy, but only until you touch it, like once, and well, it's not left a mark, but usually it makes marks really quickly. In fact, there's probably marks all over this. You can kind of see at the bottom there. Yeah, so the thing with the matte is it just never stays matte, and on black you notice it even more. Which brings me to mention that the Debut also comes in red and sunburst, and I think for me, if I was to choose again, it would be the sunburst, because I think sunburst is just like more of a distracting finish than black, and I might even be tempted to give it a wee light relic just for fun, a wee experiment. And as we just mentioned, of course the Sonic comes with the gloss finish, and it has a few different finish options, which I'll put on screen now. Which one's your favourite? Let me know in the comments. Personally, for me, I like the ultraviolet, but I would want it with the maple neck fretboard, which they don't do, and HSS, which they don't do. Easy mods, although you'd have to buy 2 Sonic Strats. Maybe not. I'm tempted. I'm not going to do it. Nah, maybe. Update. Check this out. So, this video that we're watching right now, I filmed it like over a week ago, and it's been sitting up on YouTube, scheduled to be released for Friday, so for a few days. And I'm going through Amazon today, checking out the Black Friday stuff, as you do. By the way, the Squier Debut is reduced to £110, so could be a good shout. Anywho, I'm looking through the stuff, and what did I come across? A Squier Sonic HSS Strat in ultraviolet with a maple fretboard. Can you believe it? That definitely didn't exist last week, because I went through everything and I wouldn't have had to make that janky picture with like 3 guitars stuck together. So yeah, pretty cool. Thank you, Squier, for listening to my thoughts. It's a bit worrying. So anywho, now we need to decide, do I really need another purple Stratocaster? Probably. I mean, don't we all? Right, let's get back to it, and I'll re-upload this video again with this bit in it. YouTube. Speaking of which, it's time that we address the giraffe in the shed. This is of course the HSS variety of the Sonic series, and not a perfect comparison. I should have been using the SSS against the debut because they're the same. But what I would mention is, if you're looking for your first guitar for yourself or you're young, I would always recommend going HSS for reasons. To be quick, tonal versatility, but that's a video for another day. Alright, carrying on. Okay, so far it's looking like the Sonic has some very minor microscopic upgrades over the debut to justify the extra £20. What I'm thinking about is like the blacked out logo, the little plastic collar around the truss rod access, and maybe the skunk stripe on the back of the neck. I don't know, would you even consider these upgrades? What do you think? But when it comes to the pick guard, the debut actually has the upgrade. So as you can see here on the debut, we've got white, black, white 3-ply pick guard, which looks pretty nice. And on the back, it's just a single ply white guard, but yeah. In comparison to the Sonic, which just has a single ply black pick guard, which is kind of boring, in my opinion. I mean, some people will say this is more vintage correct, but I mean, this is definitely a cost saving thing here. What would have been great is a black, white, black guard on this. I think that this would have looked much more interesting, the all black just having that white perimeter line around the pick guard. I think that would have looked pretty cool. What do you think? And the final obvious difference is the availability. So for the Squier debut, you can only get that from Amazon. It's an Amazon exclusive guitar. And for the Squier Sonic, you can get that from Amazon and lots of other places. So, which one should we get? Well, it's a good question. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to price, especially if you can get the Squier debut on like one of the Amazon Black Friday or Prime Day deals. If it's reduced to like about £109, which is what it was when I bought it, then I think it's a pretty good deal. I wouldn't complain about that. But there are alternatives. So the first alternative, of course, being the Squier Sonic. So £129 for the Squier debut at full price, £149 for a Squier Sonic. SSS and HSS seem to be the same price. There's also a variation which has just got a humbucker on the bridge and a hardtail. Meh. But if you're starting to creep up into £149 territory, then at that price, for like £10 more, I would seriously consider looking at a Jet guitar. Now you can get a Jet JS300, which is 3 single coils, for about £159, and you can get the Jet JS400 HSS for about £169. Depends where you look. The JS400 would be my top pick. Now other contenders would be the new Harley Benton ST Modern, not Plus, just regular. I think that's £159, and that is probably the best spec'd guitar on the market for the price. And there's also East Coast guitars, not as highly spec'd, but cheaper. You can get them for around £99. But for me, it's all about the Jet JS400, and I've made loads of videos on that guitar and Jet guitars. They've just got the neck feel down, and in my opinion, what I've been saying for a wee while is that I think Jet are doing better Strats than Fender are doing these days. Not like better than Custom Shop or anything like that, but definitely it's holding its own against something like a Fender player, in my opinion. Anyway, what's your thoughts? What do you think? Squier debuts, Squier Sonics, Jet guitars, Harley Bentons, E-Arts. Is there any other ones you would recommend in this price range? Let me know in the comments. Like I said before, if you're looking at one of these right now on Amazon and it's like a Black Friday month or whatever it is, or a Prime Day deal, or it's just reduced to like £109 or something like that, and if that's the top of your budget, then I'd say just go for it. It's a pretty good deal. I might even have an affiliate link in the description. If I do, use that or something. Alright, cheers. Right, so if this has been useful for you and it's helped you make a decision, then please do let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, we've got a weekly format here. What happens is every Wednesday I put up a community poll post, which is a poll, and we'll vote on something guitar related. And then on Thursday, 7:30 PM UK, we do a live stream called Hammering On About, and then whatever the topic was from the poll the day before, we discuss the results and we just have a hangout and a blather, and it's fun times. sometimes. Then, every Friday, 6 PM, regular uploads, and that's the weekly schedule here. Hopefully you come along for some of that. Okay, thanks for watching. Until next time, see you later.